Hello and welcome to the Knitting Traditions Podcast. My name is Inga and this is my little corner on the internet where I talk about my knitting. If you're new here, welcome. I love having you here. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. Honestly, this online community just brings me so much joy and has been life-changing. So if you like what you see, please feel free to subscribe to get more videos. This is going to be a regular-ish podcast episode where I talk about what I'm wearing, what I'm knitting on, finished objects, and so on. Maybe a little bit shorter today, who knows. My latest upload was a stash acquisitions video, so I don't really have much of that for this episode. And I've almost been monogamous about my knitting. I've been really trying to finish up some of my whips, which has felt really good. So now I can kind of start fresh with the new year and just cast on all the things because I don't have that many lingering whips. I don't really feel pressure to finish things. I like having a lot of whips going because then I have some sort of knitting for any kind of situation, something difficult, something easy, something unspun to be kept on a couch, something to throw in a bag, something mindless that's taking forever, like some blankets, squares, etc. So yeah, but it's nice to kind of finish up some things that I would like to have done and have some needles free. So let's get started. I am wearing two knitted objects. First one I can show you, I'm not sure if it shows up really well, is this cardigan that I knitted 2 years or so. This is the simple cable cardigan by, it's a bit longer, by Carina Spencer, and I've had to fold up the sleeves because they are super long. This is a cardigan that was knit in pieces. Now, I don't really enjoy knitting things in pieces, but I had this pattern in my pattern stash for quite a while and I really wanted to make it. And I decided to just follow the pattern and do it in pieces. If I were to do it again, maybe I'd alter the pattern a little bit, so at least this would be without the seaming. I don't find that the seaming in this does give it any structure because of the yarn that I've used anyway, which is very like a fluent, drapey, soft fabric. Now, the yarn used in this, for the life of me, I can't remember the brand. But it is a blown, like a tube with the blown fibers in it, made of yak and merino blend. And I held the yarn double. The definition of the stitches are okay. There would definitely have been more of a definition to it if I had used a rounder, more rustic yarn or something that has had more density to it. This it's beautiful and drapey. It's incredibly soft. There is no itch to it. I do find that it does slide a little bit off the shoulders, but it's not as bad as my no frills cardigan, but it's not as good as my this cardigan right here, which is from Rauma. It's a steeked cardigan, and the Copenhagen cardigan that I recently finished also has a little bit better shaping because this one goes straight down. I find that the ones that go in and then down, they have a tendency to stay better on for me. What else I was wearing? I was wearing this. And this is something new. But I did not knit this. If you are a long-time viewer, when I started the podcast, I believe it's when I started the podcast, I was knitting on this shawl, which is the Aito shawl by Melody Hoffman or Bee Mandarins. However, This is knit with one strand of plötulopi, and I hated the process. Not hated, but I didn't enjoy the process of knitting this. So I frogged it. Then the beautiful Francesca, which is a podcaster friend of mine, she is the maker behind the podcast, and I believe it's _Italian_knitter, but I will put her link below. She's a gorgeous knitter from Italy, and she has made this for herself previously, but she didn't wear it, and she asked me if I would be interested in having it, and I was ecstatic because I really, really wanted this as a product. I just did not enjoy knitting it for myself, and she didn't wear hers, so I was incredibly honored that she would even think of me, and she didn't ask for anything in return. I've offered, so I owe her one, and somehow this has quickly become one of my favorite knitted items. I haven't made it myself, but it's right up there with like some of the things that I'm the most proud of, such as this one. I have worn it every single day since I got it. I was sick when I got it, and I was wearing it inside to stay warm. When I was warm, I would wear it as a blanket on the couch. I know I'm saying warm, but I'm never that warm. I live in Norway, so but yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. So thank you, Francesca. Let's get into some whips. So last time I showed you this cowl that I made. I have since blocked it, so I just wanted to show you how blocking did really help putting it into a wider shape that I wanted. Usually I just wet block things, which means I immerse it in warm water with a leave-in wool soap, like a soak, and then squeeze the water out, put it carefully on a towel, roll it up and step on it to squeeze out as much water as possible without adding friction to it, so it doesn't felt. And then usually I just lay it flat on the floor in the bathroom, which has heating, so it dries quicker, and I just use my hands to get any wrinkles out of the fabric and make it lie nicely. But I have invested in some blocking mats. Blocking mats can be quite expensive, so my tip for you is to check out stores for babies, because there are these mats for babies, and essentially they are the same, just cheaper. So that's what I did, and I also invested in some pins and stuff. So I did actually block this on the blocking mat and pinned it to the sides to stretch it out. So I can show you. So this was made of Lang merino yak. I used my scraps that I had leftovers after making Christmas gifts for my brothers and family members. Now I can see it's lying a lot better across the chest, so it's gonna be a nice warm piece here. I think I might have blocked it a little bit too aggressively for the neck, because now it's fine, it's very comfortable, but it's not snug on the neck, and I did actually kind of like it being snug on the neck. I of course don't have to wear it folded down, but now it wants to because I blocked it that way. But yes, so just added some striping, I did 6 rows of each color, and I knit 3 stitch and then I slipped a stitch, knit 3 and slipped a stitch, and I did that throughout. So that kind of brought the color of one stripe down into the next one. So I don't know why I did that, I just did. And yeah, I made it a little bit longer in the back. Did 1 extra stripe in the back, and also did the ribbing. I just used up whatever I had left of the light gray, and yeah, it's very soft and comfy, nice functional piece. Yeah, and a good way for using up scraps. So that's a finished blocked piece. So now you've seen it in its glory. I'm gonna put this back on because it was just so nice. The fire is going. We're getting cozy. You should also get cozy if you're able to. I really wanted to record because I'm going away tomorrow. I'm going to Tromsø, which is further north in Norway. I've never been that far north, so I'm really excited. Hoping to see the northern lights. We don't really get them here. On rare occasion, we can see the northern light, but I've only seen it once in my lifetime here because it's always raining and it's just, it's more rare here. But I'm hoping to see it there. And then, doing some courses, learning stuff for work, laparoscopy courses and surgical skills, etc. So it's going to be nice. Matthias is coming up for the weekend between 2 courses that I'm doing. And I hope to see some knitting stores. So I wanted to finish some objects to take with me. And one of the finished objects, you saw this last time as well. I had finished it, but it looked like a sack of potatoes and the bottom was really cinching in on itself. So I have blocked that out almost perfectly. It's still like a slight little inwards wave to it, but it's okay. I'll put a video here now so you can see how it looks on. I'm really happy with the fit of it. I did decide to tuck the neckline down, so that wasn't done in the previous episode, so I just used the same color and I just whipped stitch. So you just go in a circle attaching the edging of the neckline to the beginning that was the beginning of the neckline and just go away around that way. Matching the knits on the outside fabric to the purl on the inside, so the first stitch to the last stitch in the same placement, if that makes sense. And for the sleeves, so this grew quite a bit in the wash, so the sleeves were very long. Now I could have just ripped out, so it's twice the length of it. I could have just ripped out and bound off again, but I decided to experiment and just tuck the sleeves to the inside as well with the same kind of stitching, and I thought it's quite nice. So I'll see, and if I ever change my mind, I can just undo the whip stitch and the bind off, rip back and bind off again. So I thought that was an interesting way of doing it. So it's very thick and warm, quite a heavy piece, but very happy with how it turned out. So this was a self-drafted pattern, cast on 100 stitches, and then let the 2 knit stitches run into a raglan, and then I did some German short rows in the back, and I just kept knitting back and forth to increase the neckline in the back until I had this much fabric left in the front, and then I stopped. So no science to it there, just like how it looks, and it has a functionality in the back to keep my neck warm because I walk around like this a lot. And I did right leaning and left leaning increases. There's lots of YouTube videos on it. I did that on every second row until I felt the garment was big enough and steep enough. And like I said before, if you want to do a bigger size and you don't want a too steep of a raglan, just bind off earlier and cast on more stitches on the body underneath the sleeves and pick up more stitches for the sleeves, and that will give you a wider circumference. And then I did 5 rows and 10 rows of coloring for a total of 4 rows, same on the body and sleeves, and a longer split hem that's longer on the back side. And I used Drops Alaska, and I used 3 balls of the brown and I think 13 or 14 balls of the cream. So yes, blocking really did its job with this piece. This was not looking nice at all before blocking it, and after it, it's just beautiful. So really excited to have this piece, and it's fun having created it myself. I don't know how I don't know how to do garment patterns. I have some cowl patterns with color work. I have some sock patterns and mittens. Those are all in my Ravelry, and I have a link below. But I would really love to design garments. I love knitting garments. It's my go-to favorite knit of all time would be a jumper. But I would really want it to be a good pattern size-wise for everyone, and I just don't know how to do that. I know how to make something for myself, but I don't know how to scale it for different sizes, so I would really need someone to help me with that if I was to ever do it. And also, there's just not enough time. I would need to quit my job as a doctor and live off my knitting, become petite knit. That would be fun. Did you know that she almost finished medical school and then she quit to focus on being a mother and a designer, I believe. At least, I think I read that somewhere. And yes, this is finished. Now, this was not finished last time. This is the julesgenser. Jules, like the name Jules. That is a name, right? It's a pattern from Sandnesgarn in the pattern book Soft for Women, and I've knit a lot of patterns from that book, so this is my most recently finished one. It's a top-down circular yoke with this beautiful texturing going on. So it's a bit of like lace work and small cabling going on, and I just think it's really pretty. It was knit on 3mm needles with one strand of the Sandnesgarn tin silk mohair. And I knit the size medium, which called for 6 of their balls, and those balls are 25 grams for a little over 200 meters of silk mohair. And I really thought I was gonna get away with just using 5. I've been on Sleeve Island for quite a while because small circumference 3mm needles with a lace weight yarn, it was boring. I got bored. So bored. But I powered through because I really wanted to have this as a finished garment. I wanted to be done with it. I didn't want to have it lingering and looking at me because it's been on the needles since, I believe, June, something like that. But I think I had this much left when I ran out of the yarn on the 5th ball. So I did have to break into the 6th ball, but I feel like it's very little yardage that I needed to take out of the 6th ball. So I'm treating the 6th ball as a full ball, and I've put it back into my stash. It'll be fine. So yes, this is the julesgenser. I'll put a video here so you can see me wearing it. I think I recorded a little snippet. And yeah, finally done. Glad to have it off the needles. So it's about 125 grams, so lightweight, easy to scrunch up and stuff into a purse if you just need a little bit of warmth to go just in case. It's a nice kind of garment for that. And the color is vibrant. I like it. I have a half-finished object, and I don't think I had finished this last time. So I was knitting on a pair of socks, which combined Drops Kid Silk and Rauma Vandre, which is their new sock yarn, or it was new last year. I knit this on 3.5mm needles, I think. I should probably have knit this on a 4.5 or a 5mm needle because the fabric is really dense. Now I think it will soften up quite a bit with washing. I think it would be fun to felt these. However, I decided to finish it, and most likely this is going to become a Christmas stocking for next year. So embroider a letter on them. Now, I've only done one. I thought I had one more ball of this color, but I can't seem to find it now. I haven't looked through all of my stash, so I might still have it. But I don't know if I do, and I don't know if I'm gonna cast on a second one and make a pair of socks. If I do, maybe I'll make another Christmas stocking if I find it again. But yes, so I think this is going to be put away, and then maybe I can take it out next November, December, and make a Christmas stocking for either myself or Matthias to have at our house. So yeah, that could be an idea. So that's what I am thinking. I knit this top down with the ribbing, and then I knit all the way down to do the toe, which is a wedged toe with a Kitchener stitch bind off. And then I measured it on my foot and cut into it and did a wedged heel with a Kitchener bind off. So it matches the toe. Only I did, I think, 2 rounds of knitting before starting the decreases. And I think this is going to be my go-to way of knitting socks for other people. I prefer the socks, knitting socks the way my grandmother taught me for my feet, because I just think they fit better. But for other people, because people have different feet, different kinds of heels and toes fit people differently. But it's fine. Like, this shaping is fine. It fits most people. So, and it's fast. So I think it's a good way of doing socks for gifts. So I think, note to self, that's what I'm gonna continue doing. I have some more whips. So I have been doing quite a bit of knitting. Quite a bit. I have a sweater that I was knitting on the last time I showed you that uses this yarn, which is the Tinde Pelts wool from Hillesborg, which is a Norwegian yarn producer using a lot of Norwegian sourced fibers. It's all produced here, and I'm a huge fan. I think I'm just gonna throw things on the couch and clean up after. Now, I think I've made progress since the last time we talked, but I get confused by my own time schedule, so I honestly don't even know. But I think I've made some progress. Sorry, my ring light stopped working. So yes, I think I've made some progress since last time. I've done a bit more on the body, I believe. I have finished the second ball of yarn that I had, which was, I think one of the balls was a bit smaller than the other one. That might have been the way I caked them up though, because they definitely come in 100-gram hanks when you buy the yarn. So this is also a self-drafted pattern. This I'm making because I need a functional piece for skiing. I have made mellomtrøya, but I dropped the design before in this yarn and used it so much when skiing, and it's felted quite a bit. So I've drawn some inspiration in using the same yarn, and also that it's a raglan and it does have a rolled neckline. However, I have made a smaller neckline just because I want it to be a bit higher up on the neck. It's not too far out because that's cold. And I've done a lot more German increases to really get the back piece to stand up more to cover my neck. So I did German short rows just until I had this much fabric left, and then I continued with just doing raglan increases. And I've done raglan increases until I thought the fit was good. So the raglan is steep enough and the width is wider. So this does have positive ease, whereas the sweater that I have made before has more of a 0 to 2 centimeter ease on the bust. So it's not very big because it's also felted. So this one has more positive ease to also accommodate for future felting with use, that it's still gonna fit nicely. And I am planning to knit the sleeves next. I have 3 more balls of this yarn, so it should be plenty. But I'm going to do the sleeves first because when you knit top down, that's a nice way of knowing that you don't have to play yarn chicken because you know you'll be able to finish. You just might have to knit it a bit shorter than you wanted if you run out of yarn, but that's fine. But if you knit bottom up and you run out of yarn before you get to the neckline, you can't really wear it. So one of the reasons I do enjoy a top down construction. So I'm going to do the sleeves, make sure that they are long enough, and then whatever yarn I have left will go into the body. So right now I could use this as a cropped sweater. It would be fine. I think it would hit me just about where my high-waisted jeans are. Now, it would be fine, but that would not be a functional piece, and I know I have more yarn than just for the sleeves, so I should be fine with knitting the body a bit longer. And then I want to split for front and back, and I do want to do a rounded front and a rounded back so that it kind of hangs down in front of my front thighs and my butt, because they get really cold when I'm cross-country skiing. So I think that's going to be a nice design element that's functional for me. And I'm using, let's see, 4mm needles for this. So yes, my impromptu cross-country skiing sweater. Let's see. I've been making some squares. So if you followed me last year, you know that I started making a blanket, knitting squares using rauma finul that I am planning on probably crocheting a border around with a light color and then combining all the squares. Now, I don't know how to do that. I'm not a crocheter, so if you know a good way of joining the squares without it bumping up on one side or the other and just look nice and flat, please share below a name of a technique or a link. Maybe other people can have use of it as well. I'm nowhere near being done with all the squares, but slowly getting there, and it's just a nice in-between knit because I cast on 30 stitches and then I knit until I have 29 garter bumps on each side, or 29 on one and 30 on the other side. It's not an exact science. And then I bind off, and that creates quite a symmetrical square shape. As long as I'm using the same yarn, same needle, and same amount of stitches, and trying to get the same amount of rows, the squares are going to be the same size, so it's all good. And it's going to be so warm and woolly, you guys. It's going to be so nice. I'm doing it all in earthy tones, green tones, and rust tones. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And I just cast on with this. I think I'm getting approximately 5 or 5.5 squares out of 150-gram balls. So I just started with this. So this ball is going to keep me busy for a while. Sometimes I switch between balls of different colored balls just to have a bit of change, so I'm not knitting squares for forever in the same color. Although I'm loving all of the colors that I've put into this, so I really don't mind. It's just a simple, peaceful knit, and it's going to be so good. I really do want to knit more blankets this year. I do have a lot of yarn. It would be nice to use some of it to make some blankets that are out and about and that I can see every day and just bring joy. So this is, a long-term whip, which is gonna be a whip for quite a while. And don't know if I've put any progress into this blanket since last time, but I am planning on putting progress into it. I am taking this with me when flying tomorrow. So this is my Advent blanket, which uses a Zakami Advent from this year in a fingering weight and in a suri base as well. So I have 2 different bases, and then in between them I'm just doing a few rows of this alpaca weight, light fingering alpaca that's been in my stash. It's from Italy, I believe. Filati, I think, is the brand. I bought this in Poland though, and I have about 200 grams of this. And the minis that I have, I'm in the middle of a row. The minis that I have are 25 grams or 20. Either way, I have plenty to make a blanket, and it's very my colors. I'm not really that into like speckles and variegated yarns, but I do love the Sakami colorways in this. I love their fibers, and I'm not sponsored by this. I bought this myself. I'm really happy with it. I wouldn't use it in garments though, just because I do prefer solid colors, but for a blanket I think it's very cottage homey looking and nice. So I'm planning to take this with me. So I do need to cake up a few more minis before I go so that I have enough for the trip, because I'm going to be gone for over a week. So that is one thing I'm bringing. I'm keeping it in my Blue Rabbit house. I believe that's the name. The Blue Rabbit house, yeah. But I might have to take a bigger bag soon if I'm gonna have more minis to go into the blanket. Last, I have finished the Björk raglan by Woodland Knits that I've shown previously, but I really want to take it on the trip, so I finished it this morning and I soaked it, and right now it's on the floor in the bathroom blocking, so I will bring it on the next video as a finished object for you to see, and by then I will have worn it quite a bit so we can see how it holds up as well. Let's see. I have a test knit to show you. Now, Eniko, I believe she is Finnish, at least that's where she is living. She has designed a sweater that has been published in a Finnish magazine, and then she's done some alterations to it, and she wanted to publish it for everyone, accessible both in Finnish and English. And she contacted me and asked if I wanted to knit it, and the design is beautiful and the yarn is new to me, and she was offering to send me the yarn, so I accepted because I both enjoyed the look of the pattern and the Ulysses, I believe it's the Ulysses. I will find the yarn tag and show you. Yes, so it's not Ulysses, sorry, it's the Gillette, and the producer of this is a French yarn, Derero Natura, and the base is Gillette, and I chose to use the colors Pauvre et Sel, probably butchering that, and the color Foray as the contrast color. And I think, yeah, she sent 5 of this and 1 of this to try the pattern, and I'm doing the size medium, or the 3rd size. The pattern is called the Ruska sweater, and it's just this beautiful circular yoke color work, a top-down construction. The pattern, there was a few like little things about the chart and the text not always fitting each other, but she's going to fix that, and I thought it was a very nice way of doing color work. So you had to follow the chart and the written instructions at the same time, because some rows you start with the first stitch and some motifs you start with the fourth stitch per se in the chart, in order to have it all be centered in the front. And that was new to me, so that was fun. It's knit up beautifully. I have finished the sleeves, so there's a little bit of color work going on, and I have just about started my fourth ball of the base color, so we'll see if I actually have to break into the fifth one or not. And yeah, just the bottom of the body left. It's going to be the same color work detail on the bottom, and I believe she's trying to have this released in not too distant of a future. I really enjoyed the pattern. The fabric that it creates is beautiful. It is quite dense. Now, this is 250 meters per 100 grams, and the recommended needle size for this is 4 to 5 millimeters. Now, in the pattern, she recommended 3 millimeters, I believe, and that was just too dense of a gauge for me. I think I'm a bit tighter of a knitter than her, so I used 3.5 and 3.75 millimeters to get gauge. If I were to knit with this again, I think this yarn would be very suitable for a looser gauge than 20 or 19 stitches. So I would probably knit this on 4 or 5 millimeter needles. Oops. If I were to knit with it again. It's a beautiful yarn. So yeah, really enjoyed this pattern. Only thing negative might be that the size range could be better. So hopefully she will increase that in the future, because it's a stunning pattern, and the more people who can knit it, the better, I think. So a little bit of close-up. So it still needs to be finished and blocked, but I think it's going to be a very nice warm sweater, and it is a very soft woolly fabric. I think this would be good for people who are more on the sensitive side, but make up your own mind about what your skin likes and doesn't like. But I find this to be very smooth. There's not any guard hairs sticking out or anything. So yeah, really happy with the progress in this. It knit up quite quickly. I was really focused on knitting on this, which that always happens when I'm knitting test knits. I feel a little bit of pressure to finish it. I put it on myself, which is why I don't do that many test knits. But I'm really happy that I said yes to this one, because it's going to be a beautiful garment that I think I will get to wear a lot, especially in the winter months and at the cabin. I think this is going to be a great addition. And I think that was everything that I have been knitting on. I think I also did a little bit of progress on my half and half triangles wrap, but it's currently in the car that Matthias has taken to work, because I got home from a shift, so I don't have it here, but I can show you next time if I make a little bit more progress on it. It's on like the end stages of the half and half triangles wrap. If you've seen it before, it's a lot of stitches on the needles, so even though you put a lot of hours into it, you don't really see the progress as much because there's so many stitches. But I'm really looking forward to having it finished. I have a cast on that I am going to cast on today, and that I can show you the yarn. So the yarn was sent to me by the beautiful indie dyer kamojiknit.com. You can find her, or Kamoji Knit, on Instagram, Kamoji Knit Design on YouTube. She's a fellow podcaster. She's in the podcaster group that I'm in on Instagram, and she asked in our chat if anyone would be interested in knitting her hat pattern that she has designed. and it's called Melancholy Hat, which is this name of a song. I thought it was the word melon from the Hobbit movies. That means friend. I thought that was an apt name as well. So this is a ribbed hat that's going to use, I think, 2 strands, if I read the pattern correctly, 2 strands of her, what's the name of this base? It's the one with the gold stellina in it. I will put the name here. So this is her undyed one. She has them in beautiful colors as well. She knit her sample with an undyed 2 strands of this together with a silk mohair. And I wanted to do the same, so I asked her if I could. So she sent me her undyed base together with the beautiful Happy Hunter colorway in the silk mohair, which is 72% fine kid mohair, 28% silk, and it's a 420 meters to 50 grams. Because I think that with using the undyed base together with the silk mohair, the coloring in this beautiful Happy Hunter colorway is really going to get to shine. So I'm really excited for this. I'm going to cake them up and find the needles, do a swatch, and then take this with me on my trip. And might just be my airplane knitting tomorrow. So I'm really excited for that. I don't know how soon the pattern will be released, but I would think not too distant in the future. We're, I think, 4 or 5 podcasters in the chat group testing for her, and a hat. If it's 2 strands of the fingering with the silk mohair, it's gonna knit up quite quickly, I believe. So very excited. Also really excited to try her yarn. I've been wanting to try it, but have not yet, so that's gonna be nice. I also wanted to show you this year I am trying to be better with keeping notes on my projects. So Ravelry is a no-go to me. It just doesn't, I don't find the time or energy to log on to Ravelry. I find it hard to use. Instagram, I should be better with taking photos of finished projects. I think only like 10% of what I knit makes it to Instagram. I'm just lazy. I'd just rather be knitting. But I am trying to keep some project notes so that if I do a recap of what I've knit next year, it's going to be easier for me to tell you what yarn I used and which needle size, etc. So helping myself by keeping some notes. And I bought this book in the fall. This is from Middelstrik in Norway. She creates these knitting journals. I've shown it before. It has different elements to it. It's got like a regular calendar. It's got like a monthly page with projects and yarn, etc. Finished and unfinished objects. A knitting tracker where you can color in how many hours a day you knit. Now, I'm not going to be that transparent with myself, so I'm not going to be using probably that function. Oh, look. I've already written on the wrong month. So according to me, I created the striped sweater in February, which is wrong. It was January, but oh well, I cannot even read. But I am putting in the projects for the notes pages. There are little like project notes. Now you could easily create this yourself. Just write down the pattern name, the pattern size, needle size, the name of the yarn, the gauge, how much yarn did you use. So that's basically what I've put down. So far this year, I have done the Björkraglan, which was from Woodland Knits. I used the Nutiden Flisseline together with the Plötulopi Rust. I knit the size 3 using needle size 4.5 millimeters. Now, the Ruska sweater is not done yet, but it's going to be done soon. And the pattern is from Eniko Ballo. I'm not saying that right. The yarn is Gilliatt, Pauvrat Etzel, and Foray colorways. I am knitting the medium size, and the needles are 3.5 to 3.75. So I did remember to say a lot of that. And yeah, the Julesgenser, the color is 2727. See, I would not have remembered that if I had not put it in here. So good on me, I did that. And yeah, everything else I did remember to say, so that's good. So I'm currently only putting in garments because I don't know how many project notes it's possible to put in here. I think there is quite a lot, so, and I could always just write on the bottom for extra space by hand. So I might do that, but so far I've only put in sweaters that I have been knitting on into this, because I do have more whips than the 3 that I've put in here. It's just, yeah, we'll see. I'll have a think about it. So yeah, that is all that I've been knitting on, and I am hoping to knit on even more in the future because I love knitting, and that's why I'm here. And I'm assuming you're here because you're also into something crafty. It gives a lot of joy and peace and serenity, and I hope that it also brings you the good feelings. So yeah, stay well, stay happy, happy making, and I will see you soon. Bye.